Hey y'all, and welcome to part 2. Since we left part 1 with planning ahead, let's start with that. But now, let's see what happens when you don't plan ahead. As you can see, we came back right when the parade is going on. And because of that, now we're stuck here. Now, if you're here for the parade, same thing, you must plan ahead to get a good view. But this video is more about riding as many rides with limited wait time. And this is prime time for riding those big rides that usually have a long line. But I wanted to come at this time to show you the difference of planning ahead. And this will take us to tip number 7. Download the Disneyland app on your phone. The app will hold your Disneyland ticket, parking ticket, it has a map, wait times for the rides, as well as show times. For example, this Magic Happens parade. Now, as we walk to ride number 9, we will show you more of the land here and give you some brief fun facts, starting with King Arthur's Carousel, the oldest ride here at Disneyland. And this carousel is full of history, like jingles, dedicated to the OG Mary Poppins. If you know the name of that legendary actress, comment down below. Also, there's been talk that they will remove the Sword from the Stone statue, so make sure to try it in case rumors are true.
Alright, so these columns right here, they actually were gray for a long time, and then they came and painted them, as you can see, in 2 different colors, because the point of these columns was they were supposed to look like pie crust, because Snow White likes to bake pie crust, but when they did it all gray, you could barely tell, so they had to come and repaint it, so now it looks more like pie crust.
Yeah, Snow White is full of history, not only the movies, but the ride itself. I don't think Disney would be the same without it. I mean, even Walt Disney believed in it so much that he put up his house and the company to get the money to finish the film. But let's talk about the ride. And this ride was changed about 3 times. Before it was named Snow White's Scary Adventures. And yes, that is the first reason they had to change it. The witch at the end was too scary for kids. So the Imagineers changed the story to where they wanted to give the perspective of the crowd being Snow White. But yet again, the people complained that they did not see Snow White on the ride. So they changed it once more to what we now have, Snow White's Enchanted Wish, where we see more Snow White and it's less scary. Oh, so we did wait on this line about 20 minutes. It was the 3rd longest line I stood in all day. As we walk under Sleeping Beauty's castle, which has its own amazing history, one last thing I want to point out about Snow White. Off to the left, we have Snow White's grotto with a wishing well. So, not only can you make your magical wishes here, but the coins thrown in are collected and donated to Make-A-Wish Foundation to make kids' dreams come true. So I just needed to add this amazing fact. I could talk about Snow White for hours, but don't worry, I won't. So let's just move on to tip number 9, and that is to explore.
So, they have the store right there, and here's where we get all the food, right in there, and they have the shows posted, and then we're sitting up there as well, so that's kind of cool. Alright, let's go because we're not eating here. So that's a show that we have that you can watch whenever you're somewhere here. Sit even here, or you can sit up at the top. The stairs are right there. You just go up. As you can see, obviously it's like Disney songs. Just get a little closer. We got happiest.
Normally, we don't go into restaurants because the videos we make is to spend the least amount of money as possible within reason. Now, I have for sure eaten here in Disneyland and the food is delicious. So if you're planning on eating here, please do. But back to exploring. If I had not explored around while we had some downtime, I would have missed this amazing performer joking around with people and singing some classic Disney songs. Plus, Mr. Walt Disney himself and the Imagineers worked really hard to include interactive things for us to explore around. But do remember, above all, follow the rules. Okay, let's get to ride number 10, and that's Finding Nemo. And this by far is one of my favorites, so I'll try to keep it as short as possible, but I could talk about this for hours as well. The history of it is amazing. Now, first thing you will notice is the space is very compact, which is actually the number one suggestions we hear from this ride. So let's start off with a little Disney secret. That is, if you're a bit claustrophobic, there is a secret room, way more spacious, where you can watch the whole ride from. Just ask a cast member. But saying that, me myself, I'm not a fan of closed spaces, and honestly, you don't even notice because there's so many cool things that this ride shows you. Okay, I'll give you one more fun fact about this ride before we keep moving, and that is it used to have real life sirens. Yeah, let that sink in for a minute.
Welcome to the EAC, Vinnie Marlin. It's Say something!
Can we do it again, Dad? Huh? Can we?
Oh, of course. When fish can fly.
Oh, I found Chico! Nemo! It's Nemo! Yay! Nemo! Hey, bro! We saw a huge volcano.
Yeah, this ride has gone through many changes, and one of those was the mermaids. Yes, they used to have live mermaids here, but it changed for two reasons. One of them, they were getting sunburned and the chlorine in the water was affecting their skin. But the second one, and this is a good time to bring it up, the guests were not following the rules and they would actually jump in the water and swim over to the mermaids. Yes, as crazy as that sounds, they were doing that. So please, when you come here, follow the rules. All right, anyways, enough about Finding Nemo because I could talk about it for hours. Let's head over to ride number 11, and that's Star Tours. And we made it to ride number 11, Star Tours. This is my favorite ride so far in Star Wars Land. Well, until I finally get to ride Rise of the Resistance and check that one out. Now, there is no footage allowed in this ride, so I have no video here, but I highly suggest to ride it, and if possible, sit in the front. We stood in line for about 15 minutes. But since we have no footage, let's talk about Star Wars Land, in this case, this incredible town, Batuu. This is a crossover we never knew we needed, and two things went into making this happen. Mr. Walt Disney built an amazing park, and George Lucas visited the park and fell in love with it. This was the start of an amazing story into building one single ride here. But lucky for us, that didn't work out and we got stuck with the whole town. And not only that, this town went on to revolutionize how certain rides work worldwide, as well as taking the signs from back in the day. So I just want to say thank you to everyone that made this mind-blowing land. Let's keep going to ride number 12 and number 13. Yeah, that's right, Smuggler's Run we rode back to back, and the second time we literally walked on and were the only two in the ride. How is this possible, you may be asking? And that is tip number 10. Use the single rider line. As you can see, we waited about 5 minutes at the most this first time, and the second, we didn't even have gunners or engineers. Fun fact, there is a Chewie mode on this ride. That is, where you hear Chewie instead of the pilot.
I hope you are ready. Alright, so we will sing two gunners and our two engineers. Only two pilots, so let's see what happens. Let's go.
As y'all can tell, it's nighttime. Here, there are two different options to take. Either watch the light show at Sleeping Beauty's castle, or go get on a couple more rides. The thing about this time is that no matter what you choose, you will be in line waiting for a while. But no matter what, take some time to walk around Disneyland at night. For me, there is no better view, especially during the holidays. Well, actually, riding the Matterhorn at night, the views are ridiculous. But that's on our other rope drop video. So, I chose to see the light show at Sleeping Beauty's castle, but had to wait an hour to get a good place before the show started. This was by far the longest I've stood in line. Now, I know what you're saying. That's not a good place. No, my camera's just no good for the night and I can't zoom in. but in person, being right in front of Walt Disney and Mickey Mouse statue was magical. Now, remember ride number 4 where we talked about being patient because things could go wrong, and also tip number 3, check the weather? Well, just to show you I've been there, after standing an hour for this show to start, literally 5 minutes before the show, they made an announcement because of weather conditions, they might not be able to shoot off the fireworks. Yep, you heard that right. After 1 hour of waiting. But there's only one thing I can do, is be patient. And also, I've lived here in California during forest fires, and that is no joke. In California, because of water droughts, anything can start it. So yes, of course, I wanted to see the fireworks, but I also understand the reasoning behind it. So there was nothing left for me to do but enjoy it. The other option you could have done was go on rides, which is what Philip did. He rode Haunted Mansion and Pirates of the Caribbean in that hour and a half I was at the light show. So just a quick recap of all the rides we rode in one day during Rope Drop through Tomorrowland, Space Mountain, Indiana Jones, Thunder Mountain, Mickey's Runaway Railway. Then we have Roger Rabbit, Small World, Mickey Mouse Theater, the Disneyland Train, Snow White, Finding Nemo, Star Tours. Then we did Smuggler Run twice. Me, myself, I did the light show. Or you could have done Haunted Mansion and Pirates of the Caribbean. And also we spent about $235 for this trip, not including meals. We hope this helps your next adventure here in the happiest place on earth. And we shall see y'all next week for another Rope Drop video, but this time in one of my favorite places, Universal Hollywood Studios. Yeah,